Yay, everyone! It's another week of the Talking Booth with Comfort Booth. I am so excited, and I'm sure you are too. We have seen your love on social media, your tweets, retweets, your comments, your arguments, support, and encouragement. Let's just remember to keep it kosher. This is why I do this, to create a community where we can all talk to each other and help each other. Today is no different, as this will be a very insightful episode. We need to go on a quick break, and when we come back, we will dive straight into it. In recent years, we've witnessed a noticeable shift in societal expectations surrounding masculinity, sparking intense debates about the essence of being a man. Some argue that men are adapting to a rapidly changing world, while others express concerns about the perceived decline of traditional masculine traits like commitment, drive, and purpose. We delve into the heart of these discussions, exploring the concept of toxic masculinity and how it impacts both men and women. Together, we seek to unravel the complexities of modern masculinity, celebrating positive male traits while challenging harmful behaviors. So, where are the men in today's world? Today with me in the studio to discuss where are the men. I think it is a valid question. However, we want to do this thing, both bars, we shall do it, but we'll answer today. Where are the men? With me is Soluchi to my right, Richard and Adeyinka. I want to thank you so much, everyone, for coming.
Thank you.
Soluchi is a business partner, specialist and performance coach, has 15 years in leadership coaching, and she likes to discover and unlock potentials of, I like that, individual performance. You're going to unlock individual performance. Adeyinka is a sales and marketing professional with over 15 years in telecommunications and fashion. He is passionate about the marital institution. Okay. What does that mean? We'll get there. Wait, just hold that thought, please. I can see fashion too. Yeah. And marital, okay, just wait. Richard is a lawyer and managing editor of Jalada. Is that correct?
Yeah, Jalada
Africa. He's the author of City of Memories. You still haven't given me the book.
I'll correct that error.
You didn't bring it?
No, I didn't.
Oh, for you. And he has a collection of poems called The Anguish and Vigilance of Things. You see, that's my problem with you. The anguish and vigilance of things. Kilode, explain it a little bit.
It's a line from a poem, so I decided to name the collection after a line from a poem by Federico Garcia Lorca.
Okay, it's okay. Just so we're going to go straight into it. Where are the men? Who's going to go first?
The men. Where are they?
Where are they? Where are you people? Where are you people?
We're sitting right here, beside you, facing you, opposite you, and we've always been here.
In recent times, men have become more in touch with their feminine side. And it feels as if the men flavor is being lost. You know what I mean? We have those burly men, hairy chests, under their armpits, gruff, six-pack. But now we have them cute, you know, smooth skin, eye shape, where what you as men who, well, don't look the way I've described, what does this mean?
Okay, so let me start by saying that what you just said is multidimensional. Okay. You know, the description of men that you put out there is what we've known men to be: strong, and men are still strong. So if you say that, for example, if you say that men used to work at this certain hours, and now we have technology to make the job easier, that doesn't mean that the men are not men.
Okay.
So the description that you've made just now, it's just one aspect of being a man. Being a man is just always about being strong and airy and all that. Being a man, the expectations are very wild, they are different, they are huge. So what you expect from a man in a relationship, it's different from what you expect from a man as your child.
So now let me even just stop there, Solitary, so that you can jump right in here for me.
Yeah.
I'm even thinking of security. You're telling me that because the men now, how did you put it, they can work from home on their laptop, so they don't need to go to the farm, isn't it? Please, are those same men able to face up to the security challenges? In those days, these men that I just described were the ones who would take their axes, their bows, their arrows, would beat their chests and stand, let the enemy come. Those are the men that we're asking. Where are those men? The men that held the bastion. Can you do that now?
Why not?
When? How? I don't want to begin to ask questions. Also,
are you saying that? No, are you saying that men don't take up challenges anymore?
I don't think that men have the capacity now again like before. I think they have become softer, weaker in the delivery of their manhood. And I just gave you a typical example, which is guarding the city gate from external aggression. How many of them are truly on the front line? And I'm not talking about the armed forces here.
So let me say this. I think the reason why we're having this discussion is to have perspective. Yes. So I would want the men to listen from our perspective, because it's not just about your perspective. Yes, you're smiling. Okay, so our perspective. You know, when you were describing the men, where are the men? I wanted to ask, what is our definition in this era? I think the definition of who a man is somehow has changed. So I don't even mind if you want to do the smooth skin, the whatever, but there are things that are core. Protection. Provision. Protection, provision, security, leadership, vision. It's missing. We say it's missing.
Yes.
In all, when we deal with people, whether it's in friendships, whether it's relationships, it's missing. So they cannot relate to your example of guarding the gate. So let's bring it down to how many men are paying the bills? How many men are paying rent?
Thank you.
How many men are providing?
How many men are taking care of their
How many men are taking care of what they're supposed to take care of? Yeah. Outside relationship, even with friends. These days, everybody is going Dutch. Even the one who will buy the drink, the man will open it.
But that's culture. What you're just saying, when you say Dutch, that means it's cultural. So the expectation for a man, it's different from one space to another. So when you had this concept of an African man, you know, the Dutch it has been a culture for a while. So you have some cultures that their men take up the names of their women. There are some cultures like that.
Okay, so
we're describing it as current here. We're Africans.
As you said, Africa.
You guys taught us that this is what it means to be a man. Okay. I grew up, my father did everything.
Okay.
My dad did everything. My mom will take care of what she needs to take care of. But when it comes to providing, yes.
See, I think that part of this problem, all right, is the problem of stereotypes. And I'm going to start with you, Comfort. When you hold out this picture, all right, of the man with the rippling muscles and whatnot, you're actually projecting something that hasn't existed for thousands of years. particularly because, as he has said, technology has changed it. Why do I need to have powerful muscles to be able to wield a club and hit the other man on the head? Yes. Why do I? No, here's the thing.
Yes,
All right,
okay.
here's the thing. All right, the scrawny guy with the slim chest and whatever. All right, and he takes a Maxim gun, he takes a machine gun, he'll mow every other person down. He does not need to be that way. And these things have always changed. So it starts with the stereotypes. Stereotypes are useful, definitely. It helps us make sense of things. But often than not, when you hold the stereotype as, you know, this is the baseline, then you get wrong because lots of things happen. The same thing when Soluchi speaks about men not providing and all of that. It's also this question of stereotypes. The problem with stereotypes is that you can emphasize whatever you want to emphasize to make an argument that is not based on anything. You know, it's based on an emphasis that has been placed. And for that every emphasis, there's a wide spectrum of things that also have to be considered.
So before
if you say
go on,
men
Richard,
have, yeah?
Please, before we lose the chain of thought, based on what he has said, because
Yes,
he has
because I wanted to answer
I
him.
want him to go back. I want him to go to what you asked. What is then the definition of a man? Simple now.
Because,
let him give us. We're listening.
Definition of a man?
Yes.
Okay, I woke up one morning in a hospital somewhere. I was given birth to. All right, I was assigned male at birth. I have no objections to being male at birth. I have lived all my life as a man, and I am a man. This absolute same thing with a woman.
No,
What does it mean?
What does it mean?
What does it
Because
mean?
we gave you
Why should
our
it
own.
mean something?
Because
it's a
we
reality. Do you ask a stone, why are you stoning? Or why are you a stone? So it's an observable reality. That is what it is. You can't ask it, why is air airing? Why is cloud clouding?
But
What
you-
does it mean?
Why is
No, but what
raining?
is it? Let me
ask him. This definition is important because there is a relationship. I can't ask stone because there is no, I'm not interacting with stone on that
innate
level.
object.
A woman will interact with a man, and there are definitely differences
Thank you.
between the man and the woman. So it's important that we know the definition. We grew up with a certain kind of definition, and you can't discount our experiences. That's how we were raised to know who a man is. And you guys defined it for us. So if it has changed, tell us so that the expectations that we had can be adjusted. So there is a need to say, who is a man? What are the characteristics of a male? Because it is, even in animal kingdom, it's different. When you see male lizard, it's different.
Wait, so
Tell me
Adeyinka.
what has not changed.
No, wait first.
tell me.
Okay.
Wait,
Let's
wait,
wait. So calm down. Calm down. There are two women, two guys. I want to still go back to what Richard has said, and I want you to help me answer.
Okay.
Because I want to hear what side you're on. Richard is telling us now that we're being stereotypical, and
Yes.
that over time things have changed. And Soluchi has said, fine. What has changed? Because we are men and women. People have to be different.
Okay.
And why is it stereotypical to expect the man in this day and age
Yes.
to still be what a man has been? Why must we, how would I say, embody the difference and then the effect of it be felt solely, literally by the woman? Because what happens now is, yes, everything that the man is to be, the woman has now become.
Yes.
Then the same men turn around and say, oh, you are usurping our authority.
Yes.
That's what I want to hear.
Okay,
Yeah.
so comfort. What you're doing now is you're not giving us the balance. But let me start from what a man is.
just did.
I'm starting from him. So the man, we're a product. All human beings are a product of their biology and their environment. Yeah.
Okay.
So a man is someone that has the X and Y chromosome biology. Simple.
Okay.
The environment is what you are talking about, how we grew up, the culture, and all that. So, what has changed? A lot has changed in the last 100 years. Women wanted more.
Why?
Wait. Just wait.
Wait now. Okay. Well, note it. Men wanted more.
You want to walk. When the men, the so-called men that you described when we started the discussion, they had to argue with their women about going to work or not. One day we started this discussion and women wanted to be out there, have the same opportunities as men and all that. Now the opportunity is given. You are complaining that those same men are not providing enough with. So when we say that what is a man, your expectation changes per time. So let me tell you, as a man, what you are expected to be as a man, as an husband, is different from a father.
Definitely.
The way you look at your dad is different from the way you will not rest. The way my daughters look at me, I just laugh. I don't think I deserve it.
Oh, they look at you like a hero?
Yes, now.
Okay.
Just personally, it's a personal opinion. I don't think my wife will ever look at me like that. Do you understand?
Why?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's not, I don't just think so. You know, I don't think so. Do I provide?
Yes.
Yeah, I do. Do I protect her? Yes, I do. But because there is a difference between the person that you've nurtured from the beginning and the person that you met.
Because the expectations are different.
Exactly. So the
Expectations are
expectation
different.
of the society to a man and a woman keeps on changing. That's why we're having this question. You're raising this question that say, where are the men? The men has always been there.
Yes. Okay. We saw them before.
They have
That's
always
why
been
we're asking
protecting.
now. Okay.
The men always do the tough jobs. We always do the tough jobs. Like it or hate it, the men always do the tough jobs.
Richard,
So
do you
if-
think there should still be gender roles? Because that is where I was hearing you.
That's what I was even
Yes,
going to.
yeah, that's
because
what I
in
was
trying to
hearing you.
define a man
Yeah, so
and a
you
woman
were
is in
clear.
definition is within
do
the
you-
ambient of roles.
Do you think there should be gender roles? Do you think we are being unfair by questioning based on the roles we're expecting?
Because this is just role based.
Here's the thing, all right. I asked what has not changed. That was my question here, and to agree with him entirely, everything has changed. Women are now liberated fully, and this liberation was secured primarily on the destruction of men. Here's the thing. No, that's it. All right. Before the outrage,
On the what?
Yes.
Okay,
The
wait,
roots
let's
of
listen.
this lie in the First World War, in the Great War, in which an entire generation of European men were slaughtered across the battlefields of Europe. There was such a shortage of people to man the Industrial Revolution, which was going on, which was what was providing that armaments. And that was when women came into this. So while the women were getting the jobs and they were working, their men were busy being killed all over the Somme and battlefields across Europe.
But it was men killing the men.
That is
Wasn't
yeah,
women.
but they were,
Exactly.
yeah, but those who died were perfectly dead at the end of it. They were quite perfectly dead. They were not going to rise again. So when we talk about this thing about liberation, so women came into the workforce, and some women liked it, and they wanted to continue. And immediately after the war, you had this issue: young men who had been demobilized with their trauma and their PTSD, and they come back and they find out, oh, the industrial scale of production has to be reduced now that it's no longer a war economy, and now the women are there. There were all these issues. But in all of this, women triumphed, and it has continued. And women are now CEOs and all those things, and it's brilliant. But in the same way that women have had a trajectory of responsibilities, of rewards, there have also been responsibilities, and it has always been an endless negotiation between what is what, between what a man is doing and what a woman can do. Now, to answer your question particularly about gender roles, I do not think that gender roles are fixed in stone.
Okay.
Why? Because the thing is, if a woman, all right, can do a particular thing, she should go ahead and do it. I have no objections. I have only one child, and she's a daughter. If she wakes up and says she wants to be a mechanic at 14 years old, my thinking would be, okay, who is the best mechanic teacher? Oh, Mercedes-Benz in Germany. How am I going to send her to be a mechanic there? That's my thinking. She shouldn't, not because she's a woman, not be a mechanic. However, when we look at this, all right, often than not, it's not even about gender roles. It becomes a question of equality. And the question is, out of 100 women, out of 100 young women, how many of them are going to opt to be a mechanic, just like the way my daughter theoretically might opt to do so? So you find out that if you pick 100 women, 1,000 women, they are less likely to want to work on an oil rig somewhere. This is the reality of
So,
it.
based on what you have said, so what Richard is saying here, right, is that whatever a woman wants to be, let her be. Whatever a man wants to be, let him be. However, where is the place of nature here? Because he's just said it. A woman will be less likely to say she wants to work on a rig, but a man is gearing to go. Is that not the place of nature? And we are now turning the order of nature around.
You see, I wanted to say that for this discussion to honestly have headway, make a headway, we need to separate certain things. For example, if we're talking about men and women in the context of a relationship, that is a different sphere. If you're talking about men and women in the context of work, because I think a lot of things have been jumbled up, so some things are spilling into some things. For example, women demanding for rights or whatever, it has nothing to do with trying to emasculate the men. It's simply a human being recognizing that in spite of my gender, I have gifts, skills, talent, abilities, and I want to be compensated as much or as well, or I want to be given an opportunity the same way a man, regardless of my, I'm in HR. Just yesterday, someone texted me, oh, I need blah, 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 this to fill this role. And it must be I say, why must it be a guy? Any reason for that preference? None. And vice versa. There's some people, women play the women privilege or the pretty privilege is there, you know. So, oh, I need a woman or something like that. So let's separate it. For women to demand, I want to work or I want to do whatever, there are reasons. I have something to give. Let me give it. And when I do give it and I measure up to the same level,
then
I give you the same work ethic, compensate me for it. That's a different discussion. When it comes to a relationship, marriage, or a relationship, a woman or the women are insisting they are working and providing. You're providing, that's your perspective. What does she understand by provision? There are many women that you give gifts to. Gift is not her problem. Maybe the provision she needs is emotional. Maybe you're busy buying gifts. So let's separate the issues and decide which one we want to fight on top of. Oh, you can wait. I was a lady.
Which one?
I waited for you. So when you said, oh, the woman wants, women are doing certain things. You cannot honestly eradicate roles because then you bring the nature in there.
Yes,
women, because so women are now doing stuff because there's a vacuum.
That was created by who?
There is a vacuum.
The men.
There is a vacuum. And that vacuum is in terms of roles. And that's why I said let's separate it. If we remove the work environment, because I believe in equality in the work environment. If you're a woman, you want to be paid exactly the same thing, have exactly the same competence, if not more.
Okay, so at what point,
and then when you now get to the relationship, there are roles,
but then
it can be eradicated.
Okay.
Even in relationship.
It can be eradicated.
So whether you like it or not, so what you are saying is that if in the workplace we're equal, when it comes to relationship, we're not equal. Men have their roles, which is maybe
we should remove, because words can just create unnecessary sentiments. Because when you start talking about equality now, if you bring equality to relationship, you will have a problem. So let's even remove certain phrases that are so sensitive these days. I'm saying that in a relationship, there are roles, even just like in the office. There are roles. CEO's work and COO's work is not the same.
HR.
And HR, not the same. Same thing in a marriage. There's a role of the man. There's a role of the woman. There's a role of the children.
Correct.
That's why your child must look at you as hero. And your wife must look at you as danger mouse. Yeah. Role. It's role.
That's not role.
That's
That's not role. That's perspective. That's perspective.
But which has to do with role?
That's perspective.
Which has to do with role? Because the role you play in your wife's, I'm serious. The role you play in your wife's life is not the same thing you play in your daughter's life. You might come back. My dad used to go to sports club. My mother hated him going to sports club. I loved it because there must be suya. So for me, there must be suya, hero. For my mom, he must come home late after some beers, and I don't want that.
Danger mouse.
Thank you.
I want one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please, I want a rebuttal, a response to that, and then I'm going to ask Richard the next question, which has to do with the male masculinity as it is today. Because that's where I started out from, and I think the answer I kind of got was like, so what? Things have changed, so therefore the masculinity should change.
No.
Okay.
So what she said is, let's narrow this down.
Yes.
And let's have a laser-focused
Yes.
discussion. But as I said, the question you asked is multidimensional.
Very.
And that's
Human
fine.
beings
Men
are
are
not, they are not one thing. You know, you are not one thing. So we cannot discuss this thing as one single role. We'll keep jumping and jumping. So for example, let me take you from the workplace. So if you say everybody has a role in his workplace, let's say we're working in this building and God forbid, fire breaks out now. What will the men in this room do immediately? What do you expect of a man? This is a workplace,
Yes.
right? It's not. What do you expect
In
immediately?
this generation, they will run.
Thank you. I was just about
They
to answer.
will
They will
run.
I said, what do you expect?
I expect them
I
to
expect
take out
them
these
to
women.
yes, I
out
expect
first.
them to rescue lives
Yes.
because it's their role.
No,
Women,
rescue
rescue women and men.
Women and
but
children.
I expect them to
That's what it is.
to make sure that the women and children are outside because
Yes.
physically they can.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Place of nature.
there is no, what you just said, that men will run out.
In this generation,
In this generation,
yes.
there is no fact to support that.
let's try fire.
There is no fact to support
Some of them that are
There
just
is
trying.
none. There is none. It's an assumption and what you fed yourself.
Some
Anita,
experiences.
it's
We've
not
had some
exactly.
Let me
It's
tell you.
experience.
Some experiences.
It's
We've had some
experience.
experiences.
That is why we're
so your
learning and
experience-
asking the
your
question.
Experience, Your
Yes.
experience is not my experience. And we need to start respecting ourselves along those lines.
Yes.
So I know a lot of masculine guys that they do everything from top to bottom.
Yeah.
I was talking to some of my friends and they were talking about housemaids at home and all that. And one of my friends actually, hire housemaid. I don't. As a rule, I don't even talk to my maids.
Okay.
It's a clear road. I grew up in a men house, full men. I don't have any sister. I've been programmed in a certain way. So if you are not saying that we should streamline this, where are the men that she started with? Encompasses what a man is. And I always say, a man at work is different from a man in the house. Yes. But we still want a type of response to that same
You
man.
said the core remains the same. You said it.
Yes.
You said
The
even
core-
as what I had
There's the core.
called
Let
at
me
work.
tell you.
Yes, there's a
Let me-
core.
Let me tell you
Provision
that where that
or
core
protection.
is. Let me tell you that core. When you ask where are the men, what you want to say, comfort, and I will put it to you right
I'm listening to you now.
is where
Sure.
are the strong men?
But is that not what I have been saying?
No,
sis?
now you are calling men that men have become soft and weak. And let me help you with it.
But they become too much in touch with their emotions and are feeling that the women are there to help them out, support them and all, that they have left, for me, their
Where are you
role.
getting this from?
What you
I'm
have just
in
told
shock.
you
From
that
life,
is
from
our
experience.
experiences, and that is
And you
why
can't
the question
discount that.
came up.
And you can't discount
where
that,
are they? In those
honestly.
days, I understand, honestly, I understand where the two of you are coming from on the issue of this being stereotypical and, just labeling you people. However, what she said is what we are the women who are at the receiving end.
Yes.
There was a certain, as she put it in her case, she said, I saw my father. So she has a reference point. She comes into her own life and her own world now. And the men are complete, and she's wondering, I thought this was how the men were supposed to be. Because apart from her own experience, she saw it around her also. We saw it around us growing up also. We read, we watched it. We kind of understood that this is how it's supposed to be. The same way the men expect something of women. That she's going to come, she's going to take care of the children, she's going to nurture the home, she's going to be there when I come, going to have a hot meal, she's going to make sure that, the in-laws are kept at bay or brought in, whichever one it is. You too had your expectations. And when you don't see them, you too wonder, say, where are the women?
You see, at the center of this thing,
Go on.
all right, there's this ridiculous notion that
Wow.
men are more expendable than women. Why is it that the example that is brought is if there is a fire here? So in other words, these young men who are manning the cameras and whatnot, they should die, like their lives are somehow less. No, like their lives are somehow less, and it's a ridiculous notion. And this notion has been untenable, as I have said, for thousands of years. Because the idea that men are expendable is straight to the caveman, where the person with the bigger club hits the other person and he gets territory and he has more control and so on and so forth.
So who should
right
be?
now we live in a world where people are creating worlds that are completely virtual and they're as real as any other thing. This has changed completely. The notion that somehow that men are expendable, men are not agreeing. If there is a fire,
I'm really sorry.
there is a fire.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to say this. I hope you do know that narrative was created by men. I will give you an example. All superheroes.
Well,
we grew up, men. We were taught. We were taught. Yes. Growing up now. Superhero. What does a superhero do? You die. You die now. You die now. You are trying to save us. You die. Check it now.
Okay, so you want us to be living in your fantasy?
No. You taught us that this is what
the worst part. Okay, so all the superheroes that you grew up with were male, right?
Yes.
How many of those superheroes were written by women?
How many?
It was written by you men.
Good. So
you gave us the narrative.
No, that's the thing. So men wrote those stories in that time and they wrote about what they knew, right?
Okay. But you didn't allow the women out then also at that point. No, the women were kept in the background at that time.
Yes. We were not even allowed. We were not even allowed to participate in those. And you see, look at all the stories. King Kong, you must rescue woman. Godzilla, you must rescue woman. Voltron, you must rescue woman. So that is our perspective of it. You must rescue us.
There's fire here.
Why you not rescue us?
But this is the thing, all right? We're saying that
we're not telling us we are tall like man. Rescue us.
Lucci, this is the thing, all right? This is the thing. Men must not do anything at all.
How?
Men must. There's nothing like men must do anything.
I do agree.
They can do. They should do, but they must not.
But
and most importantly, they must not die for you.
Yes, I do agree with that.
It's ridiculous nonsense.
I don't even agree with that because you can't bring in a spawn into this world and then abdicate your responsibilities, but expect that the child will bear your name.
That's what I'm understanding is that we have to change our own perspective and our own expectation because things have changed. That's what he's saying.
Which is what they've been saying. So
things have changed.
But for us, the reality is still there. That I will end up probably being a mother. I will have to bring up this child. I will need to have the support of a man, especially a world that has been created with all the laws and policies and all that tend to favor men. You say yes, that we went on a liberation to fight for what? For our rights, literally, basically, as human beings.
Yes.
That's basically it. But I'm still expected to play my role then as a woman in other respects. And you're saying, for us, it doesn't change. For you, it does.
Because that's what I'm saying.
For you, it has changed. You didn't have a role which you now have after liberation.
Because
for you, it has changed. For men, they must still remain the caveman.
The same,
hasn't changed.
That's the thing. You hold men like they should stay static. But the
why
reality
you
is
grow?
women have changed. That's
so
women didn't have any rights.
Part
now
of what has changed was what you said. Now, if people died off in the revolution, right? You say revolution.
Let's start with the First World War.
Okay, fine. Women died off. Women had to come in and take it up. I mean, they're human beings, so they needed to take it up, right?
Yeah.
The circle came back. When the men came, did they take it back? Women did, yes, find out that, I'm a human being, I can do whatever I need to do and all that. However, the men, what did they do? What did they do? They took a back seat.
Yeah,
a lot of them didn't come back. The men didn't come back to the driver's seat to say.
But what I'm trying to get from this conversation, Comfort, is that if the men are there's a perspective he has that I really like, and I think that is also basic human right in the sense that don't expect I can. But you don't tell me I must. And I really like that perspective. So I think the adjustment, honestly, has to be made with the women, which is why the women, I expect to be provided for. But if I'm not provided for, I'll provide for myself.
Get up and provide for myself.
I'll provide for myself. Because even if you expect me to provide and I don't feel like providing as a man, adjust yourself. That's what I'm getting from that.
So then we're back to the new wave. At this
The
point,
new
which
wave
that
is
we're
all man for themselves. Everybody for
There is
themselves.
nothing like that.
No, so
Come
at
on,
this
but that's
point,
what we are telling
okay,
you.
Society,
at this
let-
point, I'm going to have
Okay.
to take our last thought. This conversation, we cannot kill it here. That's the truth. But the good thing is that there's social media, because everything now is in a virtual world. We will now from here go into the virtual world and continue the conversation. But before we go there, I will start with, is it okay to start with the lady? You know this
No,
woman.
you
I
can
mean-
start. No, you can start anywhere. Oh,
Start with the ladies. Ladies first, yeah.
all
Ladies
for
first.
themselves.
I will start with the
Ladies
lady. Last thoughts in rounding up.
I think that honestly things have changed,
Okay.
and everybody should adjust their expectation because it's not as it used to be. Some things we expect that should be easier or the men should do, it's not like that anymore. Circumstances, economy, perspective. So I think everybody should go with the flow, and we shouldn't expect that because we have a preconceived notion, it should remain that way.
Okay.
I think adjustments have to be made on both sides.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Oga Richard.
Okay, for me, it's this, all right, that things have become more complex,
Yeah.
one, and we have become aware of the details of this complexity. Now, in response to this, then we all have to adjust. We have moved away from system-centric, country-centric, down to the individuals themselves.
Yeah.
And this is the world which we live in now. A world where a woman can be as equal as a man in the field of civil engineering or nuclear physics. If they are equal, by all means, they should get the rewards of that equality, the accolades and whatnot. But the trick is, where it is not equal, we cannot force that equality. Now, the relationships also have to be segregated. The relationship between a man and his wife, between a man and his girlfriend, and a man and woman, wherever they are, and a man and his daughter. Yeah. They are completely different, and the dynamics are extremely personal to that man and that woman, to that man and his child, to that man and that woman on the streets. And there are various levels of indifference, the various levels of care that are possible. So we have to be careful with these stereotypes of holding something up, because not only will men, all right, fail to live up to that stereotypes, but let me tell you, we're indifferent to the stereotype being held up at all.
Now let's hear you.
Okay, so I believe that if we continue, we will always change. But I believe in structure and I believe in stability. So when you look at this, you look at the social structure of our environment, and when it comes to change, it's driving the type of change that we don't know where it will end.
Yes.
The uncertainty is getting too much, and is not making us look at who we want to be as a people. Yeah. It's not about the man or a woman. You know, I think we are losing sense of self as a people. Yeah. You know, so when you lose the sense of self, that means there's no social structure to guide us. Yes. When we are having this conversation, I like us to have a guide. You know, there's who we are as Africans. Who we are as a African woman, who we are. When we start poking it. That's how it started. Start poking it. So for an African man, we are all, what you're asking about is for African man, that's what we actually want to be. But when we start poking our social structure with different interference and all that, it gives us these wild margins, spectrum. And we'll discuss and we can't get to the root of the matter. It's because that structure has been shaken and we can't even answer basic questions like, who is the man?
And based on what Adeyinka has finally said, this is why I love the talking booth. Because we don't come here to solve the issues. We want to do it together. We start with the topics. Yes, it was in all directions, but you can see that there's a thread. Soluchi has come to the point where she said, you know what, it's true. It's on both sides. Richard has said, we don't give two flying Fs. Adeyinka has said, no, there has to be some structure because we're losing the sense of self. Yeah. And from here, I would remember what, this is a man's world. What's his name? Brown.
James Brown.
James Brown said, this is a man's world, but without a woman, it would be nothing at all. So the place of roles, the place of gender is still alive. But the point here is, which part of it do we want to go forward with? Which part of it do we want nuanced? What part of it do we want just adjusted a bit? But in the long run, we are all what? Human beings. That's it. So stay tuned, and I'll see you right after the break. And so with that, we have come to the end of this week's Business of the Day. But before we go, I just want to say a huge thank you to my guests who took the time out and who are people like you and I, who have come to discuss from their perspective what this question looks like. Continue the conversation offline. I mean, we can't finish this today. And I guess, as we all said, it's evolving. So we will keep on having this conversation. But I'm a true Nigerian, and we've drilled down to say that this is Africa. Right. And when you have guests that come to see you, you can't let them just go empty-handed. Maybe they no concourse, you say, just go or just spit, nothing there. So with that, I'm going to give you guys something little, and I hope you will like them. So I don't know. I will start from this side. Should be they say equality.
Throw it.
So this
Throw it. Let me be a man.
So this is a little
thank you so much
from our set.
Yeah, okay.
To say thank you.
So
and so that you two would say that I belong to the
talking
association of speakers on the talking booth, and
Thank
this
you
is for
so
you,
much.
sweetheart. So,
Beautiful.
spread the word. This is our, spread the word. This is the talking booth, where it's a safe space for us to have these conversations, maturely. No buzz, insult at all. There's no need for all that. And I'll see you right after the break. Stay tuned. On this episode, CB says, are there still real men out there? Find the real men in your life and tell us why you think or know he's a real man. Now, this can be in form of a video, picture, outing, whatever it is. Just do something to highlight this man in your life and tag us on all our social media handles, which I'll give at the end of this show. We have come to the end of this episode of The Talking Booth. Anyway, please follow us on all our social media pages and make sure to leave a comment telling us what you enjoyed about the show or what you would like to see. Till I see you next week, keep enjoying life.